Court is now in session.
All rise. This is Order in the Court, an inside look into college basketball on the West Coast with veteran announcer Ted Robinson and the Pac-12's all-time leading scorer Don MacLean. So please be seated. Order in the Court. Here now are Ted and Don.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Order in the Court in a new year. It is new in so many ways, and Don MacLean and I are going to be back with you each week right here on Pac-12 Insider to kind of look just at, of course, the tentpole schools in the Pac-12, those that are going to be joining the league in just over a year from now, and basically a big picture view as well about things on the West Coast. And Don, the new year treated you well, I assume?
Yeah, Happy New Year, Ted. And I don't know if there's such a thing as having too good of a Happy New Year, or a New Year, but the MacLean family did, and I hope the Robinson family did as well.
We did. Grandkids galore. You could tell up here, not as much as there used to be. Anyway, you know what the New Year's also brought about is conference play now. And again, we're readjusting our brains to get used to the new conference alignments, the new rivalries that may be bred. For the two tentpole schools in the Pac-12, it's a temporary deal for 2 years to be in the West Coast Conference. But I think for both schools, Don, it started well. And Washington State in particular on Saturday had a win that registered. San Francisco's not bad, and they're going to be in the top half of the WCC. Washington State beats them at home, already playing without their best player, and Isaiah Watts has also been out for a length of time. So that win, to me, that sort of signals something about David Riley's team.
Well, I think from the start, I think people have noticed what David Riley's done. Now, he brought some players from Eastern Washington where he was, and I think that helps the transition. But talking to people around that program, he's about the process, and he's about the daily grind and the daily improvement, and that they still practice even this time of year how they practiced in the fall, because it's about getting better. And I think when you have that culture, you can bring, like, they're playing freshmen now that they didn't even think were going to get in the rotation and play at all, and now they're being relied on. But I think because of that foundation he created early when he first got there, that, you know, guys are, you know, going to get better every day. And I also think the way they play, you know, he gives his players a lot of freedom. They play 5 out, and it's about concepts and read and react and all that stuff. And when you do that, that you let them play through mistakes, I think you see players grow. And I think that's what's happening at Washington State. And even though they have a lot of new players, and this is the time of year where, you know, teams typically start to figure things out, they've exceeded expectations already. And to your point, exceeded expectations through injuries. Their best player, potential NBA guys, gone for the year. And a lot of teams that would crush, and they would just phone it in the rest of the way, thinking that they didn't have enough. But guys have stepped up, and they continue to win, and they're 3-0 in the WCC right now.
And they have to have as green a light as any team I can recall seeing. And that's going to make you smile.
Well, when you're concept-based and it's a 5 out, there is no sets. There's no you need to be here, you need to be there. It's you are in action, and you are moving without it. What they try and do is get into actions and then get 2 feet in the paint and make decisions. 2 feet for your own, 2 feet to spray it out. And when you play that way, there's so much freedom. And typically, if done right, so much space and so many good shots that why wouldn't you have the green light? If you're open, shoot it. That's the basic concept of basketball. If you're open, you shoot. If you don't, you drive or pass. And I think what David Riley's created is that freedom. And guys, when you have that, when you have the green light, and you know that if you miss 2 or 3 in a row, you're still not coming out, that you're going to be more confident and you're going to make more shots. That was the beauty of Jim Herrick at UCLA, who I played for.
And it's a fascinating, to me, it's a contrast, I guess, between the two Pac-12 schools in that Washington State plays that way because the players all know each other. They're new to the Cougars, but they know each other. Oregon State's all new. I mean, Wayne turned that pretty much most of the team over. And the last time we talked before the holidays, Don, we talked about Minor, the point guard, and what a huge addition it's been. Chicago kid with the Chicago toughness and a guy that's not about his own points necessarily. He'll get some, but it's not volume. And I look at where Oregon State has used him as a fulcrum in their rebuild, just as Washington State now has turned to Nate Calmese a former Husky, and he's become vital for them in that position.
That's what I'm saying. When you're given freedom to play, and Calmise is the point guard, a lot's on him to get things started and make things happen, make plays, get downhill, and get 2 feet in the paint. As I was saying earlier, he's stepped up. He's on his third school. He's a veteran player, so he kind of knows what's expected. But that aspect of playing in that offense, and not to take anything away from Calmise, but like that's an easy position when given that responsibility, but also the trust and play with the freedom. Like that's how you want to play basketball, in that exact way. And so Calmise has stepped up. That's a big reason why they continue to win, and I don't see any reason why it would change at this point.
All right, and so let's pivot to Oregon State real quick here. With Minor from Chicago, but much of what's put around him has been international. Wayne Tinkle has gone that route, and it really seems, I'm interested from your viewpoint, watching from a distance here, what kind of a team you see for Wayne Tinkle.
Well, what I see in watching them and reading and looking at their box scores, it just seems like this is a Wayne Tinkle team that want to defend, that want to rebound, that want to move the ball. You mentioned the international players. They're just more mature, and I've realized, and I've known that, but I've done a bunch of games this year where there's been international players, and that's the same thing every coach says, is they're just more mature. They played more basketball. It's done differently over in Europe in terms of early development in learning the game. And so I think that's a factor in why you can plug international guys in right away. But I also think the biggest thing, Ted, is Mike Rattai's made a big jump for them. Similar to Bilodeau 2 years ago, making that jump from freshman to sophomore. Rattai's made it this year, sophomore to junior, and the consistency with which he's played with. And this goes back to what we're saying with David Riley. With everyone leaving, Pope left, Bilodeau left, like Rattai becomes the guy. And when you're given that trust and you're given that, responsibility, you get more confident. And I think that's what Rattai has become, is just better and more confident because he knew he had to step up and be the guy and was given the keys to that. And so it's fun to watch that, for me, in watching players make a jump from one year to the next.